If you're a new music producer that's just starting out, you might have noticed that choosing the right DAW might feel a bit overwhelming. There's such a huge variety of DAWs and software that you can use to create music that might keep you thinking, which DAW should I use or which software should I use? But don't worry, because this video is for you, because I'm gonna help you find the DAW that best suits you and your music style. So I'm gonna start off with my personal favorite, FL Studio. And I've been using FL Studio since version 10 back in 2014. It's been my go-to DAW, and one of the reasons that I use FL Studio is because of the easy to use piano roll, the really easy arrangement view, and the mixer. And because of these tools, I think FL Studio is best for hip-hop producers, trap producers, or urban producers, because it's so easy to use, it's so easy to arrange and mix. And FL Studio is a pattern-based DAW. So that means that you can create some really cool and awesome melodies and beats. It makes it really easy to create some awesome hip-hop patterns, trap patterns, reggaeton patterns, you name it. If you're making urban music, FL Studio is the leader in music production in that area. Taking a complete turn, I'm going to talk about the common rival of FL Studio, Ableton Live. So if you love sound design, if you love EDM and your main genre is going to be like making electronic music, dubstep, house, drum and bass, genres that are very bass heavy and have a lot of complex sound design, you want to make some really heavy and some really meaty basses. Or if you want to have a really awesome live session and do some really awesome live mixes, Ableton is the DAW to go to. And the reason is because Ableton basically lets you have unlimited effects and has some of the best effects straight out of the box. So you have famous effects like OTT, the multiband compressor. You have some really awesome EQs, delays. You have basically everything you need, so you don't have to get third-party plugins to make some really awesome and some really meaty basses. And a testament to this is Skrillex, Virtual Riot. Producers that have made some of the most awesome headbanger tracks using Ableton Live. And it's so easy to sound design and to create some really awesome sounds in Ableton. And it's one of the reasons why so many electronic music producers choose Ableton over other DAWs. Is because it's so easy to get some really unique sounds and some really complex basses and sound design. It's because Ableton allows you to have all of these effects and all of these changes without using a lot of CPU, so it's very CPU friendly. So if you have a low-end computer, Ableton is going to run very smoothly with an insane amount of effects loaded up. So if you're into electronic music production, definitely check out Ableton Live. Next on my list is definitely Cubase. And Cubase is really awesome because it's a very powerful DAW for film scoring, creating compositions, and mostly orchestral stuff. So Cubase, made by Steinberg, already has some really amazing plugins meant for film scoring, composing, and orchestral productions. And you have people in Hollywood like Hans Zimmer, responsible for making film scores like Interstellar, Pirates of the Caribbean, just to name a few. And what he uses is Cubase. And the reason is because it has some really advanced features meant for composing. You have some really awesome plugins and effects that are meant for orchestral production. And so if you want to get into the world of film scoring or just composing music that is orchestral or more meant for film, movies, series, Cubase is the DAW to choose for that area. On the other hand, if you like to make pop music, you like mainstream pop, or you're a singer like Ariana Grande, Sabrina Carpenter, Billie Eilish, just to name a few, one of the best DAWs that's gonna work for you is Logic. And the reason that Logic is so used for mainstream pop and media is because it has a really awesome feature called vocal comping. And what vocal comping is basically just manually selecting the best parts of each take to create a really complete and really perfect vocal track. And of course, this isn't limited to vocal tracks, but a lot of vocal producers love to use Logic Pro for this reason. And another reason that you might choose Logic is because Logic is made by Apple. So if you own a MacBook or a Mac computer, Logic is going to be one of the best DAWs that you can choose for your Mac. And talking about MacBooks, a free alternative to Logic. So if you don't have the budget to get Logic yet, but you want to start learning a little bit on how Logic works and get a feeling of the workflow, GarageBand is a free alternative offered by Apple. It has pretty much the same interface, the same style. So if you start using GarageBand, you're definitely gonna be familiar once you get into Logic when you do the upgrades. It's a nice little learning curve from going to GarageBand to going into Logic. So if you have a MacBook, definitely download for free GarageBand. It has so many loops, it has so many effects, and it has so many sounds that you can use to create some tracks. So just because it's a free DAW doesn't mean that you're being limited. You can create a full song using GarageBand, and I've seen some really awesome producers make songs on GarageBand on TikTok. And for my Windows users, I don't want to leave you guys behind. If you want a free good DAW that you can make a whole track, then look no further than Cakewalk. Cakewalk by BandLab is a full free, yes, full, so you have everything from tracks, mixers, effects. You can do pretty much everything you can do on all the other DAWs that I mentioned on Cakewalk, and it's completely available for free for Windows users. So Cakewalk is a Windows alternative for a free DAW. And it's pretty similar to Cubase, a little bit of Logic. It sort of has that sort of feel. But it's a fantastic DAW if you don't have the money or the budget to get a full premium DAW. One last DAW that I want to talk about is Pro Tools. If you're a beginner, a music producer starting out, don't go into Pro Tools. Pro Tools is a DAW meant for professionals. And why is that? It's because Pro Tools is more of a studio grade DAW. So if you want to be a pro, definitely learn Pro Tools. But it's a bit harder to learn on just because it's a bit more complicated, it's a bit more professional, and it's designed to be used with hardware that's found on professional music studio like mixers, consoles, and all that. Because it's basically the industry standards of DAW. And if you go into any studio, like any high-end professional studio, the DAW that you're probably gonna find is Pro Tools, because Pro Tools is designed with hardware in mind, and hardware was meant to be used with Pro Tools. And a lot of this expensive hardware isn't gonna be upgraded for FL Studio or Ableton. Pro Tools is the industry standard if you wanna make some really, really professional productions and recordings in a high-end budget studio. So as a beginner, I don't recommend Pro Tools, but if you wanna be an audio engineer, you wanna work in a studio, then you should definitely study and learn a little bit about Pro Tools. And something important to know about this video, a lot of DAWs basically do the same thing. They have your equalizers, your compressors, you can do an arrangement, you have your tracks to lay out your MIDI, your audio clips. So once you learn one DAW, you fully learn and understand all of the concepts of the DAW, you can pretty much move and use any DAW whatsoever, because they all share the same principles at the end of the day. So what I want to say with this is that don't feel like if you want to do one style of music you need to use one DAW. You can use any DAW for the music that you want to choose. You can use any DAW for the music that you want to make, because at the end of the day it's your decision on what works the best. So I definitely encourage you guys to check out the free downloads for each and any of all the DAWs. Every DAW that I know of has a free trial that you can check it out, you can try it, you can test it. There's free versions of a few DAWs, like for example, Ableton has Ableton Live Lite, which is a free version of Ableton Live. There's GarageBand, which is a free alternative from Logic, Cakewalk. So don't be limited to, and you can use these DAWs to really learn and really understand how a DAW works, so that when you actually do your purchase on your full premium DAW, you're choosing the DAW that's going to work the best for your style of workflow. And I didn't mention every single DAW in this video because I know there's DAWs like Reaper, Traction, and a lot more that I just haven't tried out. I just talked about the DAWs that I've used and had experience with and what I felt they're the best for. So I just talked about. And I know there's a lot of DAWs that I didn't talk about, like for example Reaper, Traction. I just talked about the DAWs that I've used, that I've learned, that I have knowledge about, and what I think they're the best for. So hopefully this video helps you out in your music production career. So don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna be posting so much content and so much tutorials. So if there's anything that you wanna see next, leave a comment down below. I'm always reading the comments. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. This was Soundkiller, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.